Hello and welcome to this special edition of Crossover. I'm Ji Xiaojun.
Hello from Shanghai, I'm Louisa Lee.
This is indeed Shanghai. This is the Huangpu River, and right behind us is the world famous, the Bund.
The scene explains itself. Look at our surrounding, absolutely picturesque. I can say that Shanghai has one of the most beautiful skylines in all of China, and we are surrounded by the city's most iconic buildings.
Indeed, one of the iconic buildings right behind us at the Bund is the one with the clock tower. That is the old custom house.
And there's a reason why we decided to shoot our special episode here, and that is because Shanghai is hosting CIIE, which stands for China International Import Expo.
We are going to have a discussion about how import has been playing such an important role in the past decades in the improvement of Chinese people's lifestyles and life conditions.
And while you're doing interviews in the custom house, I'll be out explaining the city and taking the viewers out for a little tour to see how import businesses are operated here in Shanghai.
We'll see you then.
See you then.
And I'm now back in the studio. This is really a very special studio, and in this studio I'm now joined by two guests. We have Edvar, a wine importer based in Shanghai, and we also have Martin. Martin is an old friend, traveling all the way from Ningbo to Shanghai. This is the Bund, the famous Bund, and we can almost feel how dynamic the city is from down here. And we can also see how busy the river actually is. So today we're going to talk about import and how import is important in Chinese people's lives. Again, we import wine.
Exactly.
What kind of wine? This?
We import this wine and other wines.
Other wines.
We import wines from 15 different countries.
See.
We started to import wine 15 years ago. So from mainly family-owned wineries that we bring here and we sell all over China,
right.
Including Hong Kong and Macau.
Okay, I would like to use your wine to express my welcome to you and to Martin.
Thank you.
Welcome
Yes.
to Crossover.
Thank you.
It's good. That's good. So you're from France.
I'm from
Is
France,
this
yes.
French wine or?
It's a French wine, yeah. Burgundy wine.
So which wine is most popular now in China with Chinese consumers?
So in terms of import wine, definitely France still stay, I would say, the reference.
Okay.
That means France always I had the leadership, I would say, in terms of importing wine in China, starting mainly from Bordeaux, because it was the first wines also to come here. And since that time, even if French wine category lost some market share, it still stay actually at the main category in the China market.
Interesting, because you told me before the program
Yes.
that you came to Shanghai in early 21st century in 2003,
Yes.
and then you started your business here in 2005.
Yes.
I just wonder, Martin, you came to China really early, in the 80s.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene that you were drinking wine with your Chinese friends at the time?
No, you wouldn't have drunk wine like this. There was.
What did you drink?
Well, you would sometimes get Chinese putaojiu,
Which is
very sweet.
Chinese putaojiu would be Chinese wine.
Chinese wine, but not like current Chinese wine. It was like a sweet, very sweet, and it didn't taste that good. So Chinese wine industry has developed a lot on the one hand,
Sweet is good.
Yeah, well, they're very good. They're very good sweet wines.
Yes.
The Chinese industry has developed a lot, but I think the biggest change is then the imports. And I mean, they've started, but then over the last 5 years, they've roughly doubled.
So I want to ask you, Eva, since this is not one of the main beverages for Chinese consumers, I know it can go both ways, right? Like the classic story. But I mean, why did you decide in the first place to start your import business using China as the base in Shanghai?
I think first, like you mentioned, I came early in the 2000 as a student, and I discovered Shanghai, I discovered China, and I was very, very impressed about China because at that time we didn't get much information about the country. And I came back after doing a master in wine. And then I really met also the main wine importers, the main wine player actually, including the local producers, and I saw that there was a big potential. The demand was starting to grow a lot. You could see the market also opening. So you could see that really the people were looking for import product, new product, and there was a big opportunity. Of course, I've been lucky because I arrived right at the time where the market really started to open up, that people were really looking first to travel abroad, to meet also some different cultures, country, and to come back here and to buy also those import products.
Who were the consumers at the time?
So mainly, the consumers, when we started, definitely were, I would say, more in the 40s, 50s, and people also either come from different backgrounds, like first drinker of wine or first people to travel. And then after, really, we saw a big growing middle class who had basically the purchase power to buy wine, and the same people really who come after to travel around the world. So definitely what we were saying before, we'll say the profile of the wine also changed. The wine has been consumed, but the big thing is that this new generation, they wanted to drink something different from their parents. And they are not also the biggest liquor drinker or baijiu, and they wanted to have basically a product which is more in phase with what they are and what they do. So it was a big opportunity also for us. Yes.
So it's a new generation. They wanted to have something different. Why, did you also notice the changes in this sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think you find that it's a younger generation drinking. Also, in the past, there are different segments. There's a prestige segment of the market, which drove up the prices of excellent French wines very high. Where people, I say, people who are rich drove up those prices. But now there's much more of a middle market.
So you're saying basically, from the very beginning, it was the rich people who were drinking red wine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe
the price would be crazy, right?
The price would be crazy because it was more maybe for gifting and also more to impress the people with who you are drinking. So maybe more business actually.
The occasion. Yeah.
So if you need to impress the people who will buy the most expensive or the most famous brand.
How expensive could it be?
Could have been up to 10,000 or even more. No, we are talking about very expensive wines, and it's true that these.
But were they really good wines or just
nice
wines?
They are the best wine. If we talk about one more time, the origin of imported wine in China. So with the first growth of Bordeaux, of course, they were excellent wine, but their price were multiplied by 5, 10 with the Chinese demand at that time. Then after, more and more people also came into the market to import wine and to educate the people. You cannot believe it, but now China is basically the main country. If you take a wine education diploma like WCT, is the first country in the world. Like the country with the largest number of students to learn about wine. So you can see that there is a very large appetite also from the people to learn about the wine, to learn about what they are drinking.
Interesting, because I also understand you've organized and sponsored a wine tasting activity for the expo, and Louisa actually is there, and she's about to ask some questions, and just to check whether what you've been telling us is true or not, whether they have better knowledge or not. Let's go take a look. Louisa.
Hello, Xiaojun and crossover viewers. Here I am at a Shanghai restaurant for a wine tasting event. Organized by EMW, hundreds of events like these are held annually across China. And it doesn't look like the demand to learn more about wine culture is shrinking anytime soon. Now let's go meet the wine enthusiasts to learn about the driving force behind the craving of wine knowledge. Let's go. Do you think wine itself or wine culture or imported products have changed your life?
In China, we are seeing the consumers are getting sophisticated, and wine brings people together to talk about business, to talk about life, sharing different opinions.
brought you to this event, this food pairing wine event?
The owners who are full of different kind of knowledge, not only about wine, about the lifestyle, the history behind it. So I think this is a fantastic learning opportunity for me.
From what I'm seeing today, people are not just here to wine and dine. People are here to pursue a certain type of lifestyle that encompasses the finer things in life. Now let's head back to the studio for more discussion.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Well, this is champagne, nice champagne. I like this program because we get to drink different wine. This is not champagne. We've changed to champagne, so we're going to send more tasks to Louisa, and then we get the chance to taste more wines, different wines. So from that end of view, you can see Chinese consumers are really very well equipped with knowledge about wine. Again, what do you think are contributing to the changes in the demographic of the consumers in China?
But definitely on our side, we see the economic growth of China, which has been tremendous in the past 15 years. And like I mentioned also, this new middle class, eager also to discover the world, to discover imported product. And the other part I would say is also really a policy of opening the market in China, which is important. So in terms of importing process, has been easier also for importer to bring product here, to distribute the product here, and brought a lot of opportunities also to put into the market the product, yes.
Martin?
I think, well, obviously, easier imports, reductions slowly and steadily in tariffs have been important. I think the other thing is incomes have been rising for the young generation, especially young single people. And then it becomes a fashionable drink to have. So champagne is starting to get popular, as well as the more traditional drinking of red wine. So yeah, there's more spending power as the income of young people goes up.
And the drinking occasions are also evolving. I mean, sometimes even at home, you would just open up a nice bottle of wine and enjoy it.
Just to enjoy, exactly.
And in Shanghai, there are lots of streets where you can find all these niche, all these nice restaurants where they serve very good. Yes. Even, you know, from some small wineries.
Yeah, the market is much more, I would say, sophisticated also. That's why. Much larger offer of wine, much more larger point of sales, wine bar and restaurant to contribute also.
And I guess the foundation for that is the knowledge. Is they know what is good or what is not. And before it used to be like anything imported was good. But now, no, not necessarily. Or before it's anything from France. If we're talking about wine, French wine must be good.
It's true, no?
Good point. But not necessarily, right? There are good wines from other countries too.
Yes.
So what about what is the picture like now these days? You import like 40%. Well, 40% of the imported wine still from France.
Yes.
But what about the rest of it?
So definitely France is still the major player. And if you look at the two countries that really gain a lot of market share, it's definitely Australia and Chile. There are three different reasons. I would say they do a very good job into marketing. It's easier, you know, for the consumer to understand. And one very important point is that those two countries signed a free trade agreement. So they don't have import tax anymore. Australia actually will be zero from 1st of January 2019, and it makes a big difference.
So free trade
agreement.
Free trade agreement between China
and Australia.
With France too? No?
Not with France, unfortunately. I wish one day we can have one because it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And when France basically lost 10% market share, we see that Australia and Chile together in the past 6 years basically gained 20% market share. Yes.
Do you, Martin, produce wine as well in the UK?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Not so much. But actually, the best English wine is like champagne.
I see.
And sparkling wine, English sparkling wine.
Right.
But again, it's a relatively small production. And it's little known. But its quality is very similar to champagne. There was a time when I think the British government served it to the French government They thought it was champagne.
Yeah.
No, we couldn't get that.
Tell me how big the development was since 2005. What was it like in then, and what is it like now?
In 2005, first there were only a couple of importers. You know, the market was not very developed. The wine market was also much smaller than now, and the number of wines available on the market were only a very few brands. Then the whole market developed, like we mentioned, this new generation. I think one important point is the development of hospitality business in China. When you look at the number of hotel, five-star hotel, international hotel brand, restaurants that open, they are all also point of sales for imported wine. So this was a big contribution for the distribution. And now we become to have like a large wine market. It's number 2 market in the world, and will become number 1. China, yes. And it will become number 1 in just a matter of time, if it's in 5 years or 8 years, but it will become the first market in the world. And it continues also to develop very fast, with the same also attribute, with this large middle class growing, with all those investments also in the different cities in China.
So we are serious in drinking wine.
Very serious.
In China.
Yes.
So what was it like your own company? What was it like in 2005? How many employees? And
we started from scratch. So we had basically a couple of employees, a couple of accounts here in Shanghai. And from there, we developed after a Beijing office just before the Olympic Games. Then we opened Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Chengdu. Now we distribute around 160 cities in China.
106 cities.
160 cities.
160 cities
yes.
in China.
So basically all the cities over 1 million inhabitants, plus the touristic destination. That can be Zhoujiago or in Sanya or other places.
Tell me a number of bottles. How many bottles of wine you sell every year, or say the annual revenue?
Okay, so this year will be for mainland China around 3 million bottles. 3 million bottles?
3 million bottles in the Chinese mainland in 1 year.
Yes. So which is actually small compared to the whole market.
Yeah.
But as a single importer, and also for the channel that we distribute, so I will say more the professional channel, wine drinker, wine lover, hotel and restaurant, it's a good market share. Yes.
So you started from scratch, and since 2005, that's 13 years till now.
Yes.
You're not selling 1 million bottles.
3 million.
3 million. Sorry, 3 million.
Yes.
3 million bottles of red wine each year to Chinese consumers.
All kind of wine, so including champagne,
of
white, rosé, and yes.
Yeah, I have to come back to the point. Chinese people are really serious in drinking wine. So again, is it the only area you're noticing, Martin, the development in the seriousness of Chinese people's consumption, or any other areas you've also noticed similar changes?
Oh, it's lots of areas. So it's not just wine, but wine's one of the most notable. If you think of things like milk products is another, in terms of food, coffee as well. Now, some of it, I think some of the markets will get more competitive. For example, coffee. In China, you pay more for a cup of coffee in a cafe than you do in London or New York. So there's some very high margins in some areas.
Yeah, they're overcharging us.
Yeah.
Are you?
I think the whole market, became more reasonable, if I can answer to your question. I think at the time where there were not a lot of competition, of course, everyone was doing maybe too much margin, but now you can see that the market is very competitive, and the price of the wines basically are going down. There is more visibility. There is easier access also to the product, thanks to online, thanks to different distribution channels. So definitely, I think the prices in general are getting more reasonable. I'm from a wine country region. I'm from a wine family, so I wanted also to stay close to the product. And I traveled in China to select 2 wineries from the best wine region that I think, in my point of view, and to distribute to China and to export. So we do also export wine.
You're an importer, but at the same time, you're also an exporter of Chinese wines.
Exactly.
So, Martin, if you get to choose Chinese wine, French wine, which one? Think about it.
No, I would say French. There are now some good Chinese wines. I've had some very good sweet white wine recently.
You know the right answer to it? Good wine.
Good wine. That's right.
Exactly.
That's the right answer. And there's good wine in China increasingly, but obviously there's more centuries of experience internationally. So if you're looking at imports in China, then wine is one of the areas it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
But I think the Chinese industry, it will grow, but also become more competitive because of the competition.
Indeed. I mean, imported goods, they're so important in Chinese people's lives, and it'll be there. It's not going to go away. It's going to develop even further, bigger. So that means your business is going to develop even further in the future, bright future. No problem with that. And not only in wine import, because other products are also playing the similar role in China. We're going to move on to the next product, that is cosmetics.
Nice.
It's also huge market, huge business, but for now, thank you,
Thank you very
everyone,
much.
for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Cheers.
You're watching Crossover. And welcome back to Crossover. And this special studio, we're now joined by a new guest, Pearl. Welcome to Crossover.
Nice meeting you.
So, what do you import?
Cosmetic product.
Cosmetics.
Yeah.
In makeups or in skincare products?
Skincare products.
In skincare.
Yeah.
So you only do the good side.
Yeah.
I'm not saying makeup is not doing anything good, but cosmetics,
Yes.
skincare. So how long have you been doing this business?
5 years.
Only 5
Yeah.
years?
I'm a
You're new.
new man.
You're new.
Yeah.
But you're doing good.
I
You're
think so.
successful.
Thank you.
You're successful.
Supposed to be, yeah.
So what exactly is the product?
It's an Icelandic national cosmetic brand called BioEffect.
Wait, what does that mean, BioEffect? It's the name of the brand.
I think it means this is the name of the brand. I think it means the science behind this brand, BioEffect. Yeah.
So Iceland, I know Iceland is famous for its volcanoes
Yeah.
and great views and
Yeah.
glaciers and hot springs. I've been there recently. But cosmetics, so
Because our brand is based on the advanced biotechnology.
Okay.
At first, it was for use in medical research. Then they developed this technique into skincare products.
yeah.
So the name is BioEffect. It sounds like an MD product.
So Martin, if you recommend this to your female friends, to your family, as a cosmetic product from Iceland, and a product, say, by Estee Lauder or Chanel, or which one would you recommend?
I think you look at the effectiveness of the product. Is it a good product? So what's obvious here is that it is based on medical discoveries then applied to consumer market.
Yeah.
And that I think is its advantage in the marketplace.
So you found this is a trap. You're not walking into the trap. Basically, what I'm saying is, because we're only talking about 5 years ago. Cosmetics in China 5 years ago was already a very competitive segment. So you made the decision to move into this competitive market with a new product from a country which is not traditionally famous for its cosmetics products.
Actually, it's a long story. My major in college was biomedical engineering.
Medical engineering, related?
Biomedical engineering.
Okay, is
at that time.
related?
Yeah, and then after I moved to Iceland with my family, having been living there for many years, I know that there are very unique resources in Iceland. So they have some, developed technology, biotechnology, and the application of this kind of biotechnology is quite advanced, especially genetic engineering. I was surprised at the time. Yeah. This brand was founded by 3 scientists, I think 10 years before. Talking about the timing, I think 2013 is very interesting. I think it's a coincidence, how can I say, because at that time, China and Iceland, we signed the first free trade agreement.
Free trade, again,
Yeah.
we're mentioning the free
Yeah.
trade zone agreement.
Yeah, Iceland is the first European country to sign this contract with China. Yeah. I think the economic structures of these 2 countries are quite different and complementary. So this agreement is absolutely beneficial to both sides. And Iceland is famous for, as you mentioned, the fisheries, geothermal energy, and genetic engineering. So this kind of companies, we had an opportunity to open the new market in China with a very, very favorable import tariff.
Louisa is out there and she's going to check whether what you are now telling me is true or not. Actually, she went to visit Lan Crawford,
Yeah.
and she's going to meet some of your customers here and see what they have to say. Louisa.
If you've been here, you know that Shanghai is a shopping paradise. You can pretty much get anything here, from international brands to local products. Today, I'll be visiting by Effect to find out how they manage to secure a sophisticated clientele. You have the chance to be exposed to other imported brands. What does that mean to you as a consumer?
It's very convenient. Used to be I will buy online and I will wait for like 1 month to ship into my house and also charge a lot of tax. But now it's very easy and I can try a little different kind of things and just walk in just for 1 day. It's very good for Chinese customers.
And over the years, like you said, we've seen changes of younger consumers.
Yes.
And are these consumers open to these newer or smaller brands?
Customers look for new technologies as well as they will think, are they benefit to them? Is that a good product? They will rather to look at the product first.
Not the price anymore.
Not the price. If the product is right for them, it has to be fit into what they need.
The consumer market in the skincare sector is growing at a rapid pace, with its target set at financially independent women. Time is money, good product is money, and they're not hesitating to pay for it. Now let's head back to the studio for more discussion.
And welcome back to Crossover. So are you happy with what your customers are now telling us?
Yeah.
Must be, huh?
Yeah.
Must be. So
Our loyalty customers, yeah.
can you tell us what your customers are like, say, in China?
The average age of our clients in China is much younger than in Europe, at least 10 years younger.
What is the age range?
In Europe, in Iceland, maybe 30 years old. Women.
Okay.
Yeah, but in China, from 20 years old.
20 to
20 to 60, yeah.
20 to 60.
Because we are high-end anti-aging products, so. But can you imagine the purchasing power and their passion of the young generation?
Wait. Well, I want to talk about the age
18 years
range.
old.
I want to talk about the age
Okay.
range. Martin, what do you think? What is your comment on this lower age range, starting from 20 years of age in China?
That's the reality of the Chinese market. That there's a lot of purchasing power in young consumers.
You mean they're richer with the young Chinese people?
Yeah, they're richer than their parents were, and a lot of them, if they're not buying a house yet, then they have a lot of disposable income.
Now tell me some numbers. When you started in 2013, so you started from zero, say.
Yeah, zero.
So how is business now?
Yeah, we are from nearly zero to now over 100 million yuan last year in 2017.
Total revenue?
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah.
100 million?
Yeah, in China, in 5 years.
Business professor?
It's a very good performance.
From zero to 100 million in 5 years.
Yeah, almost 20 times more than the first year.
So, what do you think?
It's a great performance. It has to be. And it's way in excess of the growth of the market. So that's showing a business success. But I think it's also showing the willingness of Chinese consumers to buy imports. But it's got to be good imports, not just any import.
Do you get that? I mean, when the consumers ask questions, what are the questions about, mainly?
Can you imagine the most common question are, where is Iceland? And
yeah, it must be on the ice.
Yeah, is Iceland a country or just an island? And of course, about our product, the most question is the function, about the technique, how to use it. Yeah.
Not the price.
No, I don't think because in this niche market, I think the consumer, they are not very sensitive about the price. 1,000 yuan or 1,200 yuan for them, not so sensitive.
So that's your price range?
Yeah, over 1,000
About
yuan.
over 1,000?
Yeah.
For 4 drops?
For 15 milliliter. 4 drops.
4 drops a day.
Yeah.
For 4 drops a day. So how do you see the future, since we have this new initiative, say?
Yeah, in the future, we are quite optimistic about the near future. Yeah.
Near future meaning in 5 years?
Yeah, 3 to 5 years.
So another is going to be 500 million?
We expect maybe 20% annual growth in.
So that's like 200 million.
Yeah.
In 5 years time.
Because we are still expanding our channels gradually. And deeper cooperation with our partners. So I think this growth is, we are quite confident about it.
Is it also happening like when the Chinese tourists are traveling in Europe and Iceland, it's going to encourage the sales, actually, contribute to the sales back in Europe, back in Iceland of the same products?
Yeah, we're beneficial from both sides. Yeah. I think behind the products is not only the technique or design or the ideas, but also the cultures. I think for Chinese, the culture influence is long-term influence. I think this lies more this kind of lifestyle concept.
So, Martin, are we not getting further than product itself, that the Chinese consumers are now pursuing more than just products on the surface?
Yeah, they'll be looking at a collection of products and services that reflect their lifestyle. So some people maybe want to have things they can show off. That was, as we said before, is something that happened early in development of the wine industry. Then it moves more towards what do you want? And so in this case, these products will be attractive to people who say, I don't want necessarily lots and lots, but I want something that's very effective and simple. So, and that's in a sense, the image of Iceland and other Northern European countries. So it won't be for everybody. Some people will prefer a different style, but those who do will find that particular style, a set of products attractive. You see that in furniture, for example. IKEA has been very successful in China. Not at the high end of furniture, but it's simple and straightforward and functional. In this case, it's a higher end product, but it embodies some of those same values and some of those same advantages.
So a very successful story in only 5 years' time, which is not easy, especially in today's China, when the competition almost in every sector is very fierce. And then great job, I must say. Great job in doing your own products. So like we said earlier, it's not only wine, not only in cosmetics, it's almost in every sector. We're seeing successful stories one after another. And all these imported products are now changing our lives. And everyone is using these products, and we're enjoying the benefits brought by these products without sometimes even realizing it. But so long as it's bringing benefits to us, we don't mind. People like yourself bringing more products from around the world to China, so that the lifestyle can change, can develop, and the living condition can improve. Once again, thank you very much, Phil, for coming to Crossover, and cheers to the future success.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Crossover. Good sounds come with the backing of outstanding technology, and today we can attest to that. Here I am at a product launch event in Shanghai, and we'll be speaking with the CEO of CIIE shortly to talk about its positioning in the Chinese market. your perspective, what do Chinese consumers want?
The Chinese consumers are very hungry for knowledge. They want to understand the audio world. China is a wonderful market for a brand like Sennheiser.
This is a bigger question. How do you think
Yeah.
imported products are affecting the lives of consumers here in China?
To import products is also to import a savoir-faire, basically a lifestyle that you want for a certain area. So you're importing good wine because that wine can only be produced in Italy or in France. And it actually helps your local economy as well. We're importing a lot of Chinese products. So today, this is not about imposing anything. This is more about improving people's lives on both sides of the planet.
What a sophisticated headphone. Amazing sounds, no doubt about it. We live in a society where we're always pursuing for the next coolest item, and in this case, it's about enhancing our daily music experience. Now let's head back to the studio and join Xiaojun and our guests for further discussion.
Welcome back to Crossover, and we're now joined by a new guest.
A familiar
Not a
face.
guest.
It's an event.
Yeah, how was it?
Sennheiser. It was great. I mean, I got to see a new group of young consumers, and like the other visits I had, I realized there's a group of young people that they know exactly what they want. They're looking for better products. They're looking for an upgrade of their lifestyle.
Okay.
This is what I observed throughout my trips.
Yeah, so to treat you for the hard work, cheers.
Cheers, cheers. It's nice to be back joining you guys.
Yeah, we've still got some wine from the wine discussion earlier, and also nice view here too.
We have a beautiful backdrop, right?
By the Fujian River. And the lights are now all on. Just imagine the development of the other side of the river only started in 1992.
Wow.
And just imagine how many imported products we consumed in the past 25 years.
And just imagine how many new products that are coming into China as we speak.
This is interesting, since, I mean, this is not the first day we're importing all these products from the rest of the world. And why do you think we're now doing this international import exposition in Shanghai?
Well, China's been exporting more and more. So that's built up a trade surplus. That then means that China has the foreign exchange to be able to import. So therefore, there's been a shift away from buying assets overseas by government towards it being put in the hands of consumers. So therefore, there's an opportunity there for people to get more, as they get more prosperous, to import more goods. That then is overall for the economy better in terms of balancing imports and exports.
But at the same time, I guess we feel the message from the government. They're encouraging our own people to consume more, to spend more. But at the same time, it's the desire from the consumers. It's more like we care about quality.
Yes.
We want something nice. There is such a ever getting bigger middle class in China. It's not just price that matters. It's the quality. It's the experience. And when we consume these products, that matters. I guess, when you visit the exposition, you feel that.
Yeah, I feel that. And I wanted to ask Martin this, because what I'm really curious is about, Chinese consumers, they've been driving the sales growth, abroad. How about, with all these new brands coming into China, are we going to see a shift of focus? Are we going to be consuming more here in China? And what does that mean geographically? Are we going to see a shift of consumer spending?
Well, I think in the world, consumer spending is shifting towards China as China gets more prosperous. The other thing, the pattern of Chinese consumers has changed. It used to be that people buy high-end brands overseas. Part of that is tariffs, part of it is higher margins in China. So people going overseas would buy for their friends and family, especially the high-end brands. Now, with tariffs reducing, it makes them more competitive in China. If the market gets more competitive, then maybe that gap will reduce. So that's one part with the high-end brands. Then there's the more, I'll call it everyday, not necessarily everyday, but things that people want to buy on a continuing
like daily
basis.
Necessities, right?
Yeah, daily necessities. things you consume, like wine, or cosmetics, or other food, drink products, and so on. So with those, what you'll find is that those you can't just go abroad and buy. If you buy a handbag or something special, you'll go abroad. And that, in a way, is a disguised import. If somebody goes abroad, buys something, and then comes back, that's really an import. It just doesn't look like it. So what's happening with the import exhibition is it's making it more and more clear that China wants imports. And that's a signal. It's both an economic signal to companies, but it's also, in a sense, a political one to show how China's positioning itself. It wants not just to be an exporting country, but to be one where the trade is more balanced.
It might also be good to locally produce products too, because if the customers can care more about the quality, then it doesn't matter where it's made. It's a good product is a good product. Because remember, we used to have this kind of a superstition about imported products. Because imported products mean they're good products. They're good quality, good design, good anything, especially, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. But for now, when Chinese consumers are equipped with better knowledge of the world, the superstition is going to go away?
I think a naive preference for imported goods, or in some cases not imported, will disappear. I think it's largely disappeared already. People use sources of information from the internet, and they will then understand what those products are, what's good. It makes it easier, actually, for international brands, international companies, to expand in China, but so long as they understand the Chinese market. So you'll find that preferences in China are different. Talking earlier about food, for example, in some European countries, blue cheese is very popular. In China, no way.
It's an acquired taste.
Do you think that is going to change at all?
Not fast. The same way as I think that what people sometimes call chou tofu, that's not going to become popular as an export.
Stinky tofu.
Stinky tofu. That's not going to become a popular export.
Or, for example, tanning products. It wouldn't work here in Asia.
But at least you're offered with the possibility that if you want to find them, you can find them.
You can find them. But if we take tanning products, they're popular in the West because people feel that somebody with a tanned skin is healthy.
Yeah, that means that you've been on vacation. You have a good life.
That's the cultural difference.
Yeah, cultural difference.
Do you think we're also going to, imported products are also going to include the cultural aspects too?
They do, but I don't think it's going to happen with tanning so fast. Because the perception in China, if you have very darker skin, you come from the countryside.
It is
not
changing,
necessarily
though,
good
in big cities.
Yeah, it's changing, but I don't think it's going to go away. That changes very slowly.
Yeah, we're still going to wear umbrellas on the beach. We still do that, and not much, but we still do that. You know, we see ladies wearing umbrellas, holding an umbrella.
Yeah. So I think there's still that won't change fast, but I think you're right in saying that aspects of the culture will change. So, for example, drinking wine with meals. We talked about that. That's an example which has changed. And then new things like champagne as a new type of drink, which never really existed in China before. Wine did, but champagne didn't. So I think you'll find that those are the sort of things that change. So those patterns will change. People go overseas, see new things. You see that even within China, products from different regions of China, but it's even more so with international products. And it'll be across a whole range of areas. And people can now afford them. So it's a combination of prosperity and a widening horizon. That's particularly true of young people, but not just young people, particularly true of them.
So let's look forward to more good quality products, whether local or imported.
Yes, and better lifestyle as well, right?
You mean better wine?
Better wine for sure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. And cheers to you too, and thank you for watching this episode of Crossover. Cheers. And now let's enjoy the view.
Stunning view.
Yeah.
CIIE.
Oh yeah.
Right.
China International Import Exposition.